Okay, gonna give you a studio tour here in the garage. A lot of stuff in here. So, thought I'd start with this cool old classic piece, the Mini Compact, Farfisa Mini Compact. Got this on OfferUp. Didn't pay a lot for it, and there was a reason. It needed a lot of work, so took it to the shop, spent a good bit of money on it. Still didn't quite get everything fixed, but it still sounds really cool. I put it through a Trek 2, going to my 125 Leslie over here in the corner. And this thing screams. I have it turned down a little bit at the moment, but sounds great through that cabinet. Up here, we've got the Casio Tone Rig, a Casio Tone 301 and a 501, respectively. They are really just kind of fun toys. A friend of mine actually was about to, I think he found this in the trash. And I found it in this basement, and I said, "Man, you want that?" He's like, "Man, you can take it." My favorite aspect of this is the drum machine. It's got this cool rhythm section that, when you do it right, you can actually, if you hit two of these down together, you get some interesting rhythms. I think you can actually even press 3. So that's kind of fun. Down here, the 501 has a similar feature. It's got this really early type of auto accompaniment feature. So that's a lot of fun to play with. Over here, I've got the Emu Emacs, which is currently not online. I do have the SD card reader upgrade for loading samples a little more easily. Down here, I have a Yamaha CP11 electronic piano. This is another, fits well with the cornball machines over here. But it has a kind of, it has a sound. Built-in speaker. This is really what you're paying for, is this auto accompaniment thing. Let's see if I can find the sound that I like here. There's a short in here, so I have to kind of play around with it, but kind of like it's got this arpeggiator and the rhythm section with auto accompaniment. So you can see how that could find some use somewhere. Down here is a Yamaha DX27S, which is like kind of like a cousin to the DX7. It's got a built-in speaker. It doesn't have as many operators, I think, as the DX7. And if I'm not mistaken, I have a TX81Z over there that has essentially the same sound set, in addition to some other ones. But it's the classic Electro Tines DX7 type sound. So that's kind of what that's for. Over here in this section, I've got a Roland VR09, Prophet 08, and a DX7, one of 2 here in the studio. First, I'll start with this VR09. The thing that I like about this is it's a performance keyboard, so it's one of those like meat and potatoes. Get to you know, your piano, your organ, or your synth sounds with, you know, hitting 1 or 2 buttons. It's got this cool little drawbar section. I use it for gigs primarily, along with the Prophet and a Motif XS8. So those 3 are my live rig when there is a live rig to be needed in these days, which is not often, but it's a great piece. I call it my poor man's Nord Electro because it's got like kind of a similar functionality. Down here, the Prophet 08 has a, you know, it's just got that sound, man. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Great poly synth sounds and strings and leads. A lot of fun, very intuitive. It's still kind of a new member of the family here in the studio, but I really enjoy it. It's one of my favorite presets already. Then, of course, we know the DX7, and you know, my favorite chimey electro piano sound on there. Over here is another kind of cool section. I've got a Moog Little Fatty at top, Yamaha SY77 90s era workstation synth, and the venerable Yamaha CP70B Electric Grand. Got a few pedals down there for controlling everything, but I use this one primarily for leads. I use this live sometimes. It's a great little lead synth. Got cool effects. I think this is the stage 1. Down here is my SY77. It's got some lush strings. The backlight on the display is kind of gone. Anyway, I really like it for a lot of electric piano, kind of chimey bells and pads and things like that. Very similar to the DX7 in terms of how I use it, that type of sound. CP70, we all know that sound. So, really enjoy this piece. Over here, we've got the organ section. I've got a Roland VK7, which I honestly don't use a whole lot. I've got a power supply issue with it. But of course I don't have to use it as much these days since I have a Hammond A100, which sounds fantastic. I'm playing it through my Leslie 145 over here. And my current mic setup is 2 SM57s up top and a 58 on the rotor. I've tried a couple of different things. This is the current setup for it right now. Sounds pretty good. But the A100 is essentially identical to the B3. There are a few things that are different. You know, this one's got more wood. It's big old cabinet of wood that it sits in. Sounds fantastic though. I love this thing. And off to the right here we have Pedal World. Got my Vox Delay Lab. It's a stereo delay. I love this thing. Sounds fantastic. Also have a Hall of Fame 2 reverb. I've got my Phaser 595, which sounds fantastic on my Rhodes over here, Mark 1 Rhodes. Over here we have an Iron Lung vocoder and an MXR Distortion Plus. Moving off to the right is sort of the routing control center of the studio is this Allen & Heath Z436. And believe it or not, this is actually not enough channels for everything in the room. So I submix some of these other little pockets over here with like a little 1202. Have another 1202 on the other side of the room to submix stuff. I I also, just below that is, I have this old Yamaha P200 stage piano, and I actually really enjoy this thing. It's got great action. It's a little noisy, just the key clicks and everything. It's a little noisy, but the action is great, and it's great as a piano controller for when I'm tracking piano parts.